Okay, I just woke up and realized I haven't made a market recap for yesterday, Tuesday, the 14th, 2025. I actually expect this to be a high, so let's practice while we talk about the market recap for yesterday. And let's just put it for there for. Alright, anyway, forget about this. Market recap for yesterday. This price action, right? So, for yesterday's price, we didn't really go anywhere. That makes any sense, right? So we start the day, which is when we at Asia right here, we had a consolidation. We rally up, we take buy side liquidity, and then from Asia we start dumping. Okay. And then after that, London comes, and then again we start dumping. And then New York comes, like the 9:30 of it, and we start dumping. More time if we see this, right, and there's any reason to reverse, New York would actually reverse, right? You can't just dump all 4 sessions, right? I mean, we can, but like, it's very unlikely, which just telling me that New York would reverse the day, right? And I should look for buy side liquidity, right? So, what buy side liquidity was the most obvious to me right now at 9:30 was these smooth highs, right? Then we have these smooth highs, kinda, right? More smooth highs and smooth highs, right? And then ultimately it'd be this high. However, as you can see, the market went to these smooth highs from Asia, and that's it, right? I didn't really expect it to go up there because that'd be just an insane reversal. However, I expected these smooth highs. Anyway, now, based on that knowledge, right? And I actually haven't drawn anything in yesterday's chart, like other than what was on the chart initially. I did not draw anything when I entered the trade because to me it was that obvious, right? Plus I literally woke up at like 2:45, right? I woke up right here. Where is it? I woke up at the low. I literally woke up and I seen it hit the low, and I'm like, that is definitely the low, right? So I just started as fast as I could log into Top Step, and then I bought on this inverse fair value gap, right there. Stop loss at this low, right? So I can get the CE of this, right? And I just rode it up to here. Why only up to there? Because look at this. Look at the range, right? Isn't that enough? Right? Already on half of the contracts, 1.5. Isn't that enough? Exactly. I know it's gonna go all the way up, most likely at least to here, right? This is what my minimum target. Like, get around midnight prices around here. I did not draw it. I didn't see where it is, but I know it's around here. So I'm expecting price to at least go up, draw up there, right? Especially with how strong it is. Strong, like after I entered, look at these displacement gaps, right? It displaces all the way up, and then on top of that, that will make this area a breaker, right? So if it gets to these highs and it displaces through it, as you can see, displaces through it, that fair value gap, and ultimately I was actually expected slightly dip lower, like just here, right? Just slightly dip lower. I'd expect this price to just hold and then yes, consolidate initially and then go. Like, think about it in phases, right? Like here, go 1, stage 2, and then stage 3. That I'll expect like 3 stages at least before even thinking of taking off my what would you call it? Taking off my position, right? Anyway, so that was my trade. I'm not gonna lie, I do not really have any confidence. I think confidence is on the chart to really explain why I did that trade that much. Okay, like What's the exact reason? This is the reason I gave. Anyway, what's like logical reasons that we'll just find right now, right? If I was asked to like start drawing extra stuff, extra confluences, and just being extra with it, right? Let me explain the narrative. We have filled, right? I just took a second and just to see what have we done with this big opening range gap, and as I can see, we have filled it. Once we head to that low, we actually fill it, right? So look at this close. I think this is all we care about, right? The close. Don't need to draw the other quadrants, the close, right? I want to see what price does around the close. And around the close, what do we have? We have the 0.75 of the opening range gap, right? So once we close this price action, we kind of technically don't need to fill this wall of the opening range gap, if that makes any sense. So once we close it, technically, and especially like look at this low and then just look at this price action and think about one thing. From here, we go and offer sell side, right? We go and dump. So to rebalance this from this opening price, technically, that we just straight offer sell side all the way to the top. If we reach that, then I'd expect this low key as a offer sell side, and then we can come back to it and then start offering buy side. That makes any sense, right? And you can see that's where we make the low. And so from here we offer sell side, but then now we're coming back to it, and then we can again rebalance it by offering buy side, right? It doesn't ultimately say that it's the low of the week. However, by the way it looks like low of the week to me right now, right? And less price rather than going down and offering discount starts all going higher for premium, and then starts building sell side for us to come and take this low. But as long as the market stands like this, which is the upper quadrant of the new weekly opening gap, it's not even bothered to go to fill this, that means it's really bullish. It's really bullish, right? So for today, I'm looking at higher prices. One thing you'll notice that I talked about was this breaker not being touched. So I'd expect price like now I can see that we dipped into this fair value gap, so I want the clean one on like 30-minute, for example. I'd want price to jump into here, really in the upper side, and I bet if there's a 4-hour, there we go, perfect. This 4-hour fair value gap, this is what I'd like to see, right? For price, let me get the proper quadrant. Is that the real colors of it? Yep. So this wouldn't be a loadout count, so I'd honestly expect it to like go to the low of it, right? So you can touch the high of the breaker. If it's really bullish, if we're gonna come down, right? I don't know what's going. This is London. I don't really. I mean, this is early London. I don't know what happened for this big 1-minute candle, but if price makes relative equal highs, then comes down to this low, maybe the wick under it, right, which will include that gap, it'd be perfect. It'd be so perfect. However, we're gonna see. I'm not gonna be like yes, instantly decide on the day based on that, but that's about it. Anyway, this is yesterday's recap, so let me keep it to yesterday. We are below midnight opening price. That's discount. The second discount, if we look at our whole range from this low. Now, yes, now we can use this low because we dip it into it. Now we can look at the whole range rather than yesterday we had to look at the small part here. Like yesterday we looked at this range to this high, which gets us this discount. However, now because it looks like we're making a bigger move, right? You can tell on a bigger time frame. Where's discount? Right here, right? And again, discount, then liquidity, right? This is a low. However, it's not a prominent low that makes sense for us. right? Because it's not like a London low, it's not a 7 a.m. low, whatever, right? We only take it down here, right? Once price goes at 9:30, boom. Now we again discount, then liquidity, and then PD array. You could say the top of the new daily opening up now, but I'd expect us taking that low. And for that reason, we make this low to take it again, if that makes any sense, and we head to an actual PD array. And after that, you know, it's time to look for buys. And you can see this model just works every day, really and truly. If you get it right, it works every day, right? Education expansion. And because this was the one for a discount, from this range to this high, let me just double check with OTE levels as well, in case. Right, we got OTE here. Ooh, ooh, that's perfect. What the fuck? Well, basically, I think it misses it by a tick. If did I put this right? Bear with me. Right, I think it's still, I still missed it up by a tick right up there. However, if this lows 249,419, come on, 75, 41975. The low is, it's actually full. He actually hits it. Is it? 24,421. It misses it by one tick. It don't matter. Point is there. Don't regardless OTE or not. So I do expect that to be genuine at the low of the day, right? It's a good deep retracement. And what I would want, one thing I can notice that Asia made a good low, right? And what's that? That's like the CE of the 4 hour fair value gap, like reclaimed, let's say. Why? Because if we look at this chart, here, this 4 hour that we used to go up, then we went through it, and now again, we use the CE of it in Asia to exactly and accumulate around it and push higher. So that is kind of questionable if that would be the low of the day, and I should not expect this, and expect this as a what do you call it, a breakaway gap kind of, because it's small and stuff. And yeah, if price really wants these highs now, that is possibly a breakaway gap. So I should be cautious of what New York really does. However, I would love for price to just come back again, just offer me the discount, because from this low to this high, that is not a discount. It misses the discount. So I'm thinking it either stays or it goes slightly higher, right? If it goes slightly higher, what does that make? It makes this, that's a PM low. And then that means if we go up slightly, think about it like this, then that low enters that discount area, and then that 4 hour fair value gap, I would not require it to go all the way to the breaker. It could stop anywhere here, right? However, it'd be nice for it to also just tap the breaker. Like it could just do tap it and go away, right? So yeah, we'll see what London does. We'll see what the initials of whatever does, right, for the market. However, we are bullish. That's my essence. For today, we are bullish. Why? Because this will eventually, if it closes above this fair value gap, I know this slightly closed above it, both of them, but I want a better, meaningful close above that, right? And then I'd expect this to be just, once we wick down, we close above this inverse fair value gap again, and yeah. Yeah, that's the market recap. I know it's just a bunch of random waffle about today and yesterday's price action. And the only reason really and truly is I didn't draw anything really for yesterday's price. Like I did not need to. Like genuinely just looking at what price was doing, and I already had this quadrant of the new weekly opening gap. Just having a look at this, that it closed it, seeing that price went down all these sessions, and seeing that once we go down, we slightly miss this target and we make relative equal lows. So I know it's gonna come back to it, and on top of that, we make relative equal highs that are obvious to go to while also making all these relative equal highs, right? And us not displacing through this low, right? So we can see the CEO of it. Just tells me the whole story, right? All of that by just looking at the price for 5 seconds, right? All of this thinking, da 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 da, boom, and then all I'm looking for is entry. We need a macro time, right? Essentially, we hit macro time when I enter 949, 950, boom. We get in there, take price to the first easy low hanging fruit objective, right? Because we're not gonna be greedy. We ain't gonna be greedy. Anyway, by the looks of it, we want to make relative equal highs, right? And I guess my short here was definitely premature for, but I don't care, it's paper, so I'm just trying to see if I could catch something that makes sense. However, if I just show it again here, it'll be the same thing. Type of trade, looking for these lows. I would love for price, I'm telling you, I'd love for price to just do all of these lows, right? And then on top of that, it comes here, makes a low, goes slightly higher, then makes the lower low that'll touch this breaker. That to me, perfect. Where would I seek price? Honestly, I'd expect that, but this relative equal highs right here would be my attention if London keeps this and keeps this the high of London basically, right? And just for the love of the game, let's just put a short, and I don't think it's gonna even offer it. However, if it does, it does. Let's just say here, and stop loss is there. Again, same idea. TP all the way here, or something more guaranteed. Anyway, that's the market recap. Peace out.